Now, we've been mentioning the ongoing legal dispute, which finally came to an end last week. There's been a lot of hype around the tradies in relation to the old banknotes that were dug up from a construction site in Runaway Bay, and a settlement has finally been reached. And so we want to hear the other side, representing the owner of the land. Oh, it was Morrison
Construction.
Why am I saying Scosh? It's Morrison Construction Services from Priala Legal. Good morning to you, the legal practitioner, Despina Priala.
Good morning. No, you were half right. The ScoMo, as I call him, Scott Morrison, he's actually the sole director of Morrison Construction Services. So he is the client, essentially. So you were on the right track.
Okay, can you tell us, Despina, a little of the background to this story? How did it happen? How did these blokes find so much money?
Yeah, well, there's been a lot of media coverage, but I can tell you firsthand what actually happened. So it was around on the 1st of November last year, and my client bought this land about 4 months before. And my client's a developer, and he bought this property. It was a house that was built in the 80s on the Runaway Island, and it was a house and a tennis court and a pool, double lot. So he always intended to purchase it, to actually demolish, and then subdivide the land. So that's what he wanted to do. So in the process of that, of course, he had to engage an excavation company to demolish everything on the site. And through that process, when they were getting towards the end, lo and behold, they found this cash.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah.
So then what about the finders keepers rule? Does that apply?
Yeah.
Well, yes, it doesn't really apply here.
Right.
So I know there's been a lot of media coverage about the two tradies who found the cash.
Yep.
And look, we're very grateful. Of course, they've done the right thing, that they handed it in to the police. They could have gone another way, as we all know, and made that choice, but they didn't, so they were good citizens. But, I mean, we can backtrack that and say, well, none of this would have happened unless my client bought the land and then decided to excavate and demolish everything, and then the cash was discovered. So that was done on the 1st of November. That was the date I referred to before. And they found boxes of cash in the land, buried underneath. And it was just amazing. We were all shocked on that day when I got the call from the client. It was just incredible.
So the money itself, it was actually like under the concrete or under the floorboards or something, was it?
No, it was actually found outside,
right,
near the pool, in the garden bed.
Okay, the garden bed, right?
The garden bed, that's right.
So everything's been demolished, and you're right at that final hurdle, and you're almost there to claim it. And then, of course, this comes forward on November 1, and you've been going through 10 months of a tumultuous case by the sounds of it.
Yes, it was actually, it's a very unique case, and there's never been a case like it in Queensland, and there's only been one case similar in New South Wales. So it was actually very, very unique, very unusual circumstances, and obviously very privileged to be on this case with the client. But yes, we started to embark on a very interesting journey from November. We filed it in the court in December, and we were going ever since until recently when we settled.
So if someone comes forward and then they make a claim, then I guess that has to go through the whole process as well.
Well, yes, and that is the justice system that we have and the legal system. So my client basically was in the box seat. So he owned the land, and the law is anything that is under the land or attached to the land belongs to the owner. It's very, very clear as the way that the law is. So what happened then is we were in the box seat. We just sat back, and then all of a sudden all these people started putting their hand up saying, oh, no, it's my cash.
Yeah,
it's my cash.
It's funny how that happens, of course, with such a large amount of money. People will suddenly remember, I left it there, 20 years ago. Or along those lines.
Well, Despina, what do you do there? Do you have to then present evidence? How does that work so you can actually file your defence?
Well, this is the interesting thing, and for us, as I said, we were in the box seat. So we filed claims pretty much within a month or so. We wanted to get onto this very, very quickly. So we filed in the Supreme Court because the Supreme Court has inherent jurisdiction. It's the superior court. So we went to the Supreme Court and filed, and everybody else that put their hand up to make a claim, they are the ones that have to do all the work.
All the work.
Filing a defence, putting their claim forward, putting their evidence, and then we're the ones here, okay, well, let's see what your defence is, let's poke holes in that, let's see the flaws, let's see what you're really trying to say. Is it a legitimate claim or is it completely baseless?
Oh, and finally, we've got a resolution to all this now.
We do. It's a very long and interesting road with a lot of bumps and hurdles over the course of 7-8 months, and we finally got to a resolution. And look, it was great for the client. He's happy with the outcome.
He's happy.
He was declared the rightful owner of the cash.
Yeah.
Great.
But we also have a confidential settlement.
Well, that's a big win for you.
Yes. It's like I said, a very unusual case. Never seen a case like this. Never been reported in Queensland before. There's only been one in New South Wales, which dated back to 1968.
So then do you refer to that? Is that the only thing you can go by then?
Actually, that was supporting our claim. That 1968 case in the Supreme Court in New South Wales, Ranger and Giffen, that was the case. That was the one that we used to support our claim. There was a case in Queensland in 1996, a case of Walker, but that was an unreported case. But we still used it, as you do. But yes, very, very limited case law, but you only need one.
Indeed. And you've been practising law for, 25 years or more, so this is the first time that you've come across anything like this?
First time.
Yep.
Absolutely. And same with the counsel that I put on the case with me. First time both of us have ever seen this, and completely unique.
So you're setting a precedent now, so I guess if people now find some money on their property, they may be coming to you.
Well, absolutely.
We'd encourage it.
Yes, indeed. So, look, you never know, so get out the metal detectors. There could be something under there.
Well, I dare say the adjoining neighbours on either side of the property were doing that very same.
Oh, were they really? Oh, we love this
That's right.
juice, were they?
There's a mini gold rush.
Oh, if I actually owned the house next door, that's what I'd be doing.
Yep,
Dig
that's
as
it.
much as you can,
Yeah,
get to work.
That's it.
Oh, I would, because they were all built around the same time, and we really never got to the real story of.
No, this is where we wondered, where did the money come from?
Yeah.
We don't know
Does
that.
anyone really know?
No.
No,
We can only surmise and suspect as to how the money got there back in the 80s. Yeah.
Yeah, we noticed how old those notes really were, but I just remember, a lot of the elderly didn't go near banks and would bury money. So, but you're right, we're only guessing.
Well, that's right. But also, interestingly, when this first came about on the 1st of November, and then we started this trail of, we made a lot of investigations and inquiries ourselves before we filed our claim. And interestingly, we worked very closely with the Queensland Police Service because they were doing their own investigations, and they did a lot of forensic testing. And it was really interesting because they did forensic testing of the cash, of course, the rubber bands that actually were wrapped around the cash, and the boxes themselves, the plastic boxes. So it was really fascinating. And in the end, they said to us, well, we can't find any live or old criminal cases that we can actually tie this cash to. So that's when it was free for us to, okay, let's go file. Because it's not part of a criminal case or any implications of criminal activity. And that means that the QPS, the Queensland Police Service, won't take it.
Right.
So we went and filed.
But its origin remains a mystery.
Its origin remains a mystery. And it was really the other interesting thing with the Queensland Police Service, when they were doing the investigations, they said to us, "Oh, we think it might be the cash part of the bank robberies that the Brendan Abbott."
Oh, really? The postcard bandit.
Yeah, and we all remember Brendan Abbott, and he was famous for undertaking a lot of reportedly bank robberies, and he was ultimately jailed for a number of those tied into that.
Fascinating, and we'll never actually probably know the real answer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, glad at least it's a win for your client. We're glad to hear that.
And great to talk to you today.
Thank you, Jess, and thank you, Wayne.
Thanks so much, Despina Priala, who's a legal practitioner of Priala Legal. You can find them at prialalegal.com.au. Good morning.